Have you ever wondered why you all of a sudden yawn when you see other people yawning? If you want to learn more about that, stick with us on Mysteries Mysteries. I am Mr. E, and we are going to be exploring all things that are mysterious in the world of psychology. We have these structures in our brain called mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are located in a couple parts of our brain. Long story short, right up here in the frontal lobe and the parietal lobe, areas called the motor cortex, which is our sense of movement, and another area called our somatosensory cortex, which is for our sense of touch. But these mirror neurons, they fire under a couple different circumstances. Number one, they fire. Okay. And when I say fire, that means they're making neural connections. They're like shooting electrical charges and sending chemical messages. They fire when we are doing a particular action or when we see someone else do that particular action. They also get a lot of practice when we do something called visualization. So we're going to explore all of those things today. So the first one, let's go ahead and get to that yawning situation. If you yawn when you see other people yawn, there's a good chance that you're going to be a highly empathetic person, meaning that you're capable of putting yourself in another person's shoes and kind of feel what they feel. So like, for instance, when you see somebody yawn, okay, your mirror neurons actually start to fire as if you were yawning, and therefore it produces the yawn. So it's they're actually getting that practice. So if you see somebody cry, and you're one of those persons that if you see somebody cry, will start crying, you're a highly empathetic person and your mirror neurons are incredibly active. So very fascinating piece of information. For children, they go through something called the theory of mind, which occurs at about, it varies, but around 4 years of age. And that's when they first start to understand and comprehend that other people have emotions that are different from theirs. Prior to that, they're quite egocentric, which means they believe that everybody sees the world as they see it. So, for instance, my son, when he was 3 years old, he loved to be chased. So therefore, he thought our dog Porky loved to be chased as well. But that was actually the exact opposite. So when he heard Porky growling, he actually thought Porky was having a good time. No, he was not. But either way, as they get older and you hit 4 or 5 years of age, you start to develop a theory of mind where you start to recognize and understand people's that people have emotions and those emotions are different from yours. And then we slowly but surely develop this concept of empathy where we start to understand and feel what other people feel. And so much of that is based off of this principle of mirror neurons. The next piece I want to talk about with mirror neurons is something called visualization. When you either observe somebody do something or you're picturing something being done in your head, your mirror neurons are firing. So there was a study done a long time ago about in basketball free throw shooting. And they took two individuals that had about the same skill set. And one of the individuals practiced every day shooting 100 free throws every day. The other one did not touch a basketball, but he visualized shooting a basketball 100 times every day. And you may think that the person that practices is going to improve more or, slightly more, or whatever. But in fact, the opposite is true. The person that visualized shooting the free throws every day, they actually improved more than the person that actually practiced free throw shooting. The main reason for that is this. The person that practiced shooting free throws, that person screwed up sometimes. And so their mirror neurons were firing in a faulty sort of way because they would miss. The person that visualized shooting the free throws every day, they made 100 free throws a day. They practiced to perfection. They didn't visualize missing. They didn't practice missing. They practiced making every shot. It just happened to be in their head. So their mirror neurons, when they were participating in the action of shooting free throws, were finely tuned to make virtually every free throw that they shot. So visualization for athletes, performers of any sort, it is so incredibly vital because through visualization, you actually achieve perfection. So if you take some of the greatest athletes of all time, you take Messi, you take Michael Jordan, you take Tom Brady, these athletes, they practice all the time in their own heads. Michael Jordan talked about how he was prepared for every situation and how he would face it. So his mirror neurons fired at a rate that was incomparable to others. Messi, his visualization on the field was like 300-fold better than other athletes playing football, soccer. And it's just unbelievable. So when you take these people that are amazing at whatever it is they do, it's not just because they're physically gifted. It's not just because they are like just naturally good at stuff. Yes, you obviously have that component, but then you go ahead and touch on this discipline, this visualization to improve their skill set. It's unparalleled. It's absolutely crazy the level of focus that they have when practicing in their minds. So visualization is absolutely key as we approach some of this stuff related to practice of actions and that sort of stuff. The last phenomenon that I wanted to kind of touch on, and this is one that if you've ever been like watching a movie or a sporting event, this is just kind of something fun to realize. So if you've ever, like for me, it's sometimes it's watching a sporting event, but it's also sometimes when I'm caught up in a movie and like you're watching this happen and all of a sudden you feel your body without you telling your body to twitch or to lunge or to jump or to squeeze or to whatever. You're so wrapped up in this, all of a sudden your body does that full body twitch, like you're actually participating in the event. Those are your mirror neurons. So to kind of review mirror neurons, they fire when we're doing particular actions. They fire when we watch other people do the actions, and they also fire when we visualize ourselves doing the action. Visualization is vital on getting to that next level of perfection in whatever it is that you do. So practicing that visualization is vital. And finally, yawning is a sign of empathy. Yawning is a sign of empathy because our mirror neurons fire when we see somebody yawn, and then we yawn in response to that. Those are all related to mirror neurons located in our motor cortex and our somatosensory cortex in our frontal and parietal lobes. So thank you all for joining us. I want to thank Unify Agency and our director producer, Bear Wade, for everything that he does for us here on our show. Make sure you can follow us on Apple and Spotify for our podcast. Follow us on any of the social media networks, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Reels, YouTube, etc. As always, I'm Mr. E. This is Mysteries Mysteries. Thank you for joining us.